And what's going on, author Lauren? How are you doing? Where are you calling from? Welcome to the 411 podcast. Tonight, we have musician Nathaniel coming in the building tonight. It is Sunday, January 16th, and I'll just have to say I appreciate every single person who tunes in, people who have a quick message with me. What's going on, Janice? How you doing? People who have a quick message, the DMs that come, the text messages that come through time to time. I just want to say thank you to everybody out there. You never know what's going on at a specific time, and it definitely helps me get through whatever I need to get through to get here today. So it's life, right? And sometimes we have ups and downs, peaks, valleys, whatever you want to call it. And here we are halfway through this month, and 2022. And sometimes, we get tested. So I don't know if you've been tested already, but looks like here we are on the 16th of January. Things, ain't all roses all of a sudden. You know what I'm saying? It's not always going to be 100%. So the test came today. So during that, I have to ask myself, listen, we understand exactly how far we came. I know exactly where I come from. So now that this test has popped up, it's basically to, see how I'm going to show improve and how I'm going to act. And all I can say is one word: growth. I know full well that I'm not what I used to be. I ain't where I want to be. But certain things that used to trigger in the past, they don't bother me anymore. And I think that's a whole part of me understanding and knowing who I am and trying to become the man that I want to become. So, keyword for my situation with growth. But we won't get into the song of the day. So, with that, when you get tested, sometimes you need to check yourself. So, song of the day for me tonight is Therapy by the one and only, of course, my girl Mary J. Blige from the London Sessions 2014. So, with therapy, it's like, listen, we know that something might not be right. We know something might be pissing us off. Something might take us down a whole nother path. But are we going to do that? Or are we going to go and seek somewhere and get some therapy, whatever it might be? Yours might be music. This one might be reading a book. This one might be hanging out with a certain, group of people. Your therapy could even be some shopping. So listen, if you know that you're going through something, why go back and forth with somebody when you can just go ahead and seek therapy? That's what I'm talking about. What's going on, people out there on Facebook, Instagram people? I've seen a couple people pop in and pop out. Thank you. TikTok people out there, Twitter, YouTube, D Live, Twitch. Just want to say thank you to everybody out there. So last night I had a great show with Leah Abraham. Definitely came through and had some deep conversations. So I strongly urge y'all to go ahead and watch that replay from last night. She's amazing. So thank you so much, Leah. I also want to say thank you to Jason T. Davis, always supporting from Los Angeles, California. Thank you so much. Ebonique Fitness, thank you. Jamila, what's up? I appreciate you for coming through. YRE Hair Growth, constantly supporting. Thank you so much. Rossi Goodies, thank you for coming through. Coco Diva, Coco Divas Cosmetics. Y'all, if you need some adulting, got some adulting stuff going on, check out my girl, Miss Seduction, on Instagram. Seduction, Miss Seduction on Instagram. So it's Seduction Spot, but it's Miss Seduction Spot on Instagram. My Survivor Voice podcast. Thank you so much, Danny, for constantly coming through and supporting as well. Chris Capri, hopefully I got it right, from Fort Worth, Texas. What's going on? Haven't seen you in a while. And of course, Miss Sophie Davis, thank you for supporting. Thank you for, dissecting the shows and giving me your feedback. You definitely, take some time to support the 411, and I definitely have to say thank you so much. I really do. You really, give me some great feedback. So with that, last night we had such great conversation, and then towards the end, I threw the burning question out there. A rhetorical burning question. And this one could be a little tricky, it could be a little tough, but the burning question was, can you tell when someone's spiritual ego has taken over? Now, when this was presented to me, I'm assuming, and sometimes you never want to assume, but when someone's spiritual ego has taken over. Now, what I took out of that is that it becomes about the person, and it becomes about the image, not so much about the message, that's coming across. So I don't know. Have you ever been in that situation where someone's spiritual ego has basically taken over, and it's like, all right, so now are you trying to teach me, or are you trying to, sit here and, you know, I guess flaunt or floss or whatever you do. I don't know if you've had that situation or not, but this is one of the burning questions that was presented to me. So, can you tell when someone's spiritual ego has taken over? C. Sanchez, what's going on? Where are you calling from? So, we talked about therapy. Song of the day was therapy, so I guess our keyword is just going to flow right in to being therapy. So, therapy is intended to release or heal a disorder. So, whatever type of disorder that might be. So, what is your therapy? I asked that earlier. What is your therapy? What do you do to heal yourself? Give you some sort of relief, whether it be temporary or long term. San Antonio, that's what's up. What is your form of therapy? Do you have to seek therapy? Some of us are better than others. Some of us just don't. I know for me, I need some therapy. I know that sounds crazy, right? People be like, yeah, you sure do. But my therapy is different. It's not so much needing to speak to somebody, because I've done that. And, even the 411 podcast, we started this almost 2 years ago, and it was some very therapeutic moments, and I was able to get a lot of things, off of my chest, so I can understand why people say, it's good to seek therapy. Keyword for me, speak about things, open up, break down, share. It's good too. So don't ever let anybody say that, it's not good. It is good, and don't be ashamed. So that's one aspect of it, actually speaking. Some therapy comes through some music, some comes through writing, some comes through certain places. We talked about nature yesterday. There's some great places that people go to seek some therapy. You know, getting into nature, getting into some wilderness definitely will get you together on a different aspect. I understand. I know where that's coming from. So it's some sort of treatment. Therapy is treatment. That's all it is. It's intended to reduce or heal the disorder. So relieve, give you some relief, reduce it in a certain way, or heal a disorder that you might be going through. So I have a feeling that Nathaniel is going to be very intelligent when it comes to some of these conversations that we're going to have tonight. So we're going to go ahead and check him out and see what he has to say about this.
Hello.
What's going on? Welcome to the 411 podcast.
Hey, great to be here. How you doing?
I'm good. I'm good. So now I was just speaking about the key word tonight, which is therapy. And it's basically treatment that is intended to relieve or reduce, some sort of stress or, heal a disorder. So when you think of therapy, most people say, oh, sitting down on that white, comfy couch, speaking to somebody, sharing your bad experiences. But I say otherwise. Therapy could be anything. It could be music, it could be reading, it could be running, it could be anything, any type of activity or hobby that, gives you some joy. So I guess the question I have to ask you tonight is, do you seek therapy?
I when I had funds for it, when I had an opportunity, I definitely hit it hard. Like that, like the go to a person and sit down on the couch thing, which which is something I needed in my life, at that point in my life. I think it's just a great thing in general to have uh, somebody objective, professional, who's like you can just go to, and it's good for a person.
Mm.
Um, you say like there's I feel like a lot of it depends on what you consider. I learned through therapy. Therapy is a lot of unlearning, not really. You learn
Mm.
techniques on how to unlearn your traumas or your unproductive mentalities. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
Um, so that's just an organism doing its proper thing. If you look at plants or something, bugs, like they shed what has become old and not purposeful.
Mm.
And I feel like that's kind of a similar thing. Um, and I have a buddy who teaches some meditation, and he goes to stuff in Chile and all that.
Mm-hmm.
And he is really into this guy named Shinzen, I believe. American guy who's like he's like a mathematician and neurologist, background neurology, and trained at these Buddhist monks and Buddhist monasteries in Japan. And he sent me a video the other day that was like about finding what you call therapy. He's calling purification. Getting rid of these toxic, the thoughts. Even when you're buttoning your clothes, or tying your shoes, like that procedure is not just a passive one, but one that you're using to like examine yourself and it's like a moment to moment thing with the new rules of engagement in every battle. So like growth is like seems like the name of the game.
Oh,
Without
absolutely.
therapy,
Yeah.
it's very hard.
I said that too. I said growth because I got to laugh at myself um, because it's funny how once you get to a point where some of the things that used to bother you in the past don't bother you anymore, and if it did, the aftermath doesn't linger around like it used to. So
The stings.
I consider that growth. Yeah, yeah. Hmm.
Yeah, definitely. I've always heard that like at 30, like a switch goes off, or you're like, I don't care what you think.
What?
I'm like 29. I'm kind of like in a positive way, of course, because fear of that sense, like fear in that sense, um, is like a really restrictive thing for me. You know what I mean?
I would say
Um,
definitely when you hit about 40 years old, late 30s, 40s, something does switch off to where it's like, yeah, this got to change.
that's encouraging me. Yeah, go on.
Definitely for me. I mean, I think I figured it out a little bit later than what I would have appreciated, but definitely late 30s, like, you know, you start to change up a little bit, at least for me anyway. And then by
I
40,
believe there's a.
then
I
by
believe I couldn't conceive conceive of it at this point in my life, I believe you.
Then by like 40, you're like, absolutely not. I'm not putting up with any of the nonsense that I used to. So wow.
Yeah. Since I quit drinking, I've that really like it made me a very like I don't mind going to a bar. You can play shows and stuff. I don't like to, I guess, but not because of the alcohol bothering me, but drunk people are like that. That's what like the social setting is very tiresome for me now. I like to dance and everything, but
Well, we went into some real deep conversation right off the bat. So I guess, it is what it is. That's what we do here. So I want to back up a little bit, and I cannot pronounce your last name, but I know you are going to do an excellent job letting us know. So let us know your full name.
my full name Nathaniel Aaron Barrera. I usually go by Barrera when I'm like I've been like credited like co-writing on some stuff and moving into that part of my life. I want to be credited like that, but like with my band, it's the Barrera in the Hot Springs.
Well, I'm gonna let you know that I can't say what you just said.
It's about like a confidence and like a leisure in your tongue, the rolling your R. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
There's a leisure, but you're confident in it.
There's a reason why I got an F in Spanish in school. I just want to tell you that.
Rolling your R's.
Yeah, that wasn't working
You
well.
say Barrera, I'll answer to it.
After I started looking at it, I said, yeah, we're not going to even try to attempt to do that.
Yeah.
So.
Well, I appreciate it. Yeah, I appreciate it.
So, where are you calling from tonight?
Well, I'm calling from Rio Medina, Texas, just west of San Antonio, Texas. I born in San Antonio. My parents, there's been a lot of influx of, I guess, a lot of folks from like people changing stuff up in this little town we call here called Helotes. It's like been around a long time before European settlement, and in like my lifetime, it's a beautiful hill country and just has changed so much. So like, if you go to San Antonio and say I'm from Helotes, it's assumed you're a certain kind of person who moved there, and I'm like in this like tiny fraction of people who's like, no, I'm from Helotes, So my parents from Helotes, and they moved me further out when I was a kid, very rural area. But it's getting developed now.
So you like living in a small town like that? Everybody knows your business.
I like where I live we don't have a mayor from where I live.
You live in a small town. Yeah.
It's more like a village, honestly. Our downtown is called the Rio Medina store. The next sort of bigger like actual town would be Castroville. And I realized like it took me. I went to school there, Castroville, Medina Valley Elementary. When I was like a little boy, but I'm not from there. Like they made it clear to me kind of, but like I'm from a more rural area. Like we don't have sidewalks where I'm from. You know what I mean? Like,
so let me.
There were woods. I went to the woods like for real. It was beautiful.
So you like?
So it was awesome. Good.
You like everyone being in your business because you live in a small town.
That's the thing. There's no one around where I live. In Castroville, I think that they deal with each other more. There's more of like a gossip mill,
How long does it take you to get to your, I guess store, biggest store, like the next? Okay, so anchors like Walmart, Target. How long does it take you to get to a Walmart or a Target? 30 minutes.
15, but like so for instance, I worked at the in downtown proper, like right by right in the middle of downtown, pretty much. There's a Grand Hyatt, and I worked at a restaurant there. So it was an hour for me to get to my house there and back.
Yeah, you live in
an hour.
You live in some interesting parts. If your car broke down, You said no sidewalk, so it's nothing but woods, right? Would it be an enjoyable walk in the dark or no?
It depends on what you enjoy. Um, like when I was 18, I moved. Like I skipped a day of like my senior year to go sign a lease in Austin. Like um, I moved out, and I had like a culture shock. Like, now I look back, and like I had culture shock. I was never living in a with that many people around. Um, and the noises at night. I wish I could enjoy the city. I went to San Francisco
Mm-hmm.
recently. I've done like reporting in like small towns, I guess, and the pace of it is like it's weird because if you need something from a hardware store
Mm-hmm.
in a small town, you can go get it in 5 minutes. So your pace of life, in a weird way, is like you can get more done in a day. It's a little bit in a way it's faster. But I don't. I kind of like anonymity myself. I don't like to bother at the grocery store running into people.
Yeah, I feel you. Yeah.
So I like that about cities. Cities are beautiful, right? And there's stuff going on.
Okay.
But I wish I was comfortable in cities, but I can't drive properly.
You
Like,
know what? I think it's so crazy because people who are not used to cities, when they go there, they're very uncomfortable. And then people from the city, when they go to the country and it's nice, quiet, and they do hear those weird noises at night, they get a little uneasy about that too. So go
you
figure,
know,
right?
there's the sound. We have a lot of coyote out here, and
What is that?
coyotes.
Oh, hell no. Oh,
So
hell no.
they go on all the time, at night,
Mm-mm.
and that's a comforting sound to me. Like that.
What do they do?
That's what's that?
What do they do?
So they howl at each other. You can hear them.
They sound like almost like a wolf, right?
No. It's more high pitched yelping kind of thing. Have you ever heard of a grito? Like
No.
when a Hispanic person hears like a really touching part of a song, you like that kind of thing, and yell. Like imagine a bunch of those, a bunch of people doing that. That's what like coyotes like pack sounds like.
Are they
It took a while to realize it's what it was, but what's that?
are they big animals?
No, they're like they're mid-sized like dogs, I guess, but they're rough.
You said they're
So when they're
rough.
yelling at each other, they're doing a couple. They're like sizing up their population.
Mm-hmm.
So like when you hunt them,
Mm-hmm.
if there's like a problem of like in North Dakota, they were doing this. Like they'll hear each other. The population deplete, right? So like number one, they'll mate more, and number two, it's crazy. They'll have bigger litters when their populations are down. That's wild, right? And so you just can't really get rid of them. Like they're just like super resilient species.
So do they attack humans? I guess that's my question.
No, but like your cats will go missing in places like where I
I've
live.
heard
You know
of
what I
that.
mean?
Yeah, cats, dogs, and stuff like small dogs.
I'll say one time it was real early in the morning and I heard a goat puppy like lost. You could hear him by himself, and the pack was like that's way off to the left of your horizon, right? And then way off to the right, you hear the pack, and you hear him again. Like, you just heard, you can hear them finding each other. It's beautiful.
Mm. Hmm.
So
C. C. Sanchez says they yelp and their yelping is counting their population. That's craziness. Never heard of that before.
yeah, that's a wonder of nature. Yeah,
It
so
ain't.
growing up here, I was like around that life. So.
Hmm. Well, the adventures of Texas. Craziness. So,
We
Nathaniel.
haven't even started with that. Like the adventure, you know what I mean? This is a sweet part to me. You know what I'm saying?
Key word for you. I don't know if it would work well for me. I don't want to hear all that stuff late at night. I have to check and see what it's like. I'll have to look it up to see what the sound is. But I'm sure that it would be something that I probably wouldn't like. I'll be like,
Yeah.
what the hell is that? Because I've never heard of that before.
But like cars driving by,
That doesn't
freak me out at night. You know what I mean?
that doesn't bother me at all. Planes, cars,
Oh
That stuff
no.
doesn't stuff doesn't bother me. Um, so you are a musician. I want to know what type of music do you play?
Um, I would like to. It's it's a good question. It's definitely I definitely try to go for something since the very beginning that was consciously pushing genre,
Mm-hmm.
and making statement if I had a platform. Um, and so what I like to call my music, because like it's I like to think that people couldn't really put their finger on what it,
Mm,
but it's still familiar.
mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
I call it Hazel Eyed Soul.
So now
There's like a
there's a blue eye soul too,
mm-hmm,
and so you're
right.
calling it hazel eyes because I'm assuming that you do not have blue eyes.
No, no, no. And see, in San Antonio, one of our legends, I've seen this man live. His name is Mr. Sonny Ozuna.
Mm-hmm.
He had a group called the Sunliners, another one called the Sunglows from the west side here in San Antonio from the early 60s. I think he's still alive. I saw him one time. And he had his most famous compilation is called Mr. Brown Eyed Soul.
Mm.
And
Now,
so it's like a little nod to that, a pretty big nod to that as well.
so
And plus, I'd like seen this like National Geographic cover or an article that was like predicting what like the average American would look like in like the near future,
mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
and it was just like a person with like hazel eyes, um, just like kind of mixed up, you know what I mean? So I wanted to kind of champion that, I guess.
Well,
The music does that, I hope.
I'm gonna look up a couple people who they say are blue-eyed soul artists because you just struck something. Um,
Some were kind of bad, man. I'm not gonna lie to you. Like
well,
they're really bad.
I'm gonna go to the '80s because that's where I'm from.
You
So,
know what I recommend from that group? The Walker Brothers. Scott Walker has been a big influence on me. They were like the American answer to the Beatles. So back to England.
hmm
Look at a song I would call like it's pretty soulful. I don't want to hear it anymore.
mm.
I think it was written by Burt Bacharach, if I'm not mistaken, or Randy Newman maybe. But it's a pretty cool song, and it's like get you. That band's pretty cool. But like Pat Boone, like blah blah
Oh,
blah,
okay,
like
yeah.
don't do that.
Now, I don't know when you were born, but definitely, I know it's definitely after the '80s. So I want to know if you know some of these artists that I'm getting ready to name.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and I agree with some of these. Simply Red,
Mm-hmm.
one of my favorite. Do you know who Simply Red is?
Something Red. Are they one hit wonder?
No, definitely not.
No. I'm getting them mixed up with UB40 because of the Red Red Wine.
Uh,
I feel like I would know this song. Um,
that's okay. Like we'll go right to the next one. Uh,
I guess
what about
uh,
What about Phil Collins?
Phil Collins. Yeah, I know Phil Collins. Pretty cool. There's a really awesome. I think it was straight up DJ Screw, like not anybody else. Like he
Hmm
straight up just dropped a screw that's like in the air tonight.
Oh
Even
yeah,
slower version of that song.
that's a good one.
Awesome.
And now one of my next two favorites that I absolutely love.
I
Uh,
know you're gonna say.
I'm curious to see if you know these, but these are ladies, and they
Oh,
definitely
okay. No. Huh?
Tina Marie, definitely. And the next one is Lisa Stansfield. Now, do you know
I,
who
I
she is?
I don't know those names. No. Please tell me about them though.
Lisa Stanfield. I'm sure you've heard the song "Been Around the World."
Could you like sing a couple of like lines?
Now you would. So it's like "Been Around the World" and I can't find
Yes,
my
I
baby.
got some.
You know that song,
Yeah.
okay?
Yes.
Um,
Yes.
here's another great one. You know who this person is? George Michael.
Oh my. Teacher, like
Yes.
yeah,
Yeah.
that's
Yeah.
pretty soulful.
Okay.
I've
So,
seen the Hall Notes.
oh, that's
That's another
another.
very cool.
Yeah, another good one. Yeah, I loved him.
I've seen them live.
Yeah. What's your
Right.
favorite song by them? Because they got some hits.
Um, just for that awesome drum machine intro, I can go for that. It's just a cool song,
Yeah.
and I get it. I
Yeah.
get it. Like he's down for it. Like up until a point.
Don't
But
even
it's like no,
don't even talk about it. Don't I
no,
talked about
don't
it in
even,
the beginning. Sometimes you just
no
can't go
can
for
do.
it. Yeah, like
Also, Sarah smile.
yeah, that one's nice too. And but as a kid, for some reason, I love Man Eater.
Yeah, it's a good one.
Love that one
I
too.
wish I had like listened to it more. You know what I mean? Like I wish I had like
What's stopping you from
um.
doing it?
I mean, I listen to it as a moral lesson.
Oh, before you made the mistakes. Well,
I'm
you
joking.
you wouldn't be where you're at today if you didn't go through some of the things you went through, which
That's exactly true. Yeah, I believe you.
I keep saying that and I have to understand it and know it because, every day there's going to be some tests that pop up and it's all on how you handle it, whether you pass that test or not.
Just is it like the answer if you passed it is you wake up the next day. So, you know,
That's a good way to think about it too.
yeah. I've learned to be very strict on that fact.
Mm, that is
It's like man, I did some crazy things like a short amount of time. Done a lot of cool things, and it's like I was thinking about this day, like wow, like man, people don't even believe me sometimes. Like I'm just very grateful. You know what I mean? Becoming very like grateful about things.
I will
Doing
tell
like this kind of thing is really wonderful. You know,
Yeah, I will tell you that the
not eating, but
short time that I have spoken to you, I will definitely say that you are very knowledgeable about, life in general. So I give you credit for that because you are, in your 20s and not a lot of people have it together at that age. Hell, there's some people who are, 30s, 40s, 50s and still don't have it together.
I mean,
So,
I don't know. I would say I have it together. You know what I mean? I'm like,
I mean, we're not always 100%. Nobody's ever 100%, but the fact that you have some of this knowledge early, and I'm just, comparing my younger self to what you have at your age, and pretty commendable. I have to tell you that.
thank you very much. I appreciate that very much.
It should save you a lot of heartache. It should. If you listen, it should save you a lot. But sometimes we know the answers, but we don't listen anyway.
Yeah. What's up with that?
So you write music, you sing, you play guitar. Am I correct?
In that order, yes, definitely, yes.
Well, that's good. So when did this all start?
Um, well, I guess I should say like I really, especially like this year, I've made a decision to really just stop playing shows altogether, live performances.
Why
Um,
is that?
I I get nervous, honestly, and I don't feel good about them.
Mm-hmm.
Even if they go well, I don't know how to like. I never had music lessons and stuff, so like being on stage and that's in my lessons. You know what I mean? Um,
I
and
have.
so even when it's like good, I can't see that.
Well,
But that's not what my joy is in the first place. So I'm a writer. You know what I mean?
I want to give
And
you some advice. I want to interrupt you and give you some advice.
yes, sir.
So when, and I'm speaking from some experience too, because there were one point that I thought that I was going to be, a musician as well. Um, when you are afraid of something, you need to run towards it. So if the live performances is something that makes you very nervous and you feel uneasy about it, that's probably the things that you should probably be doing. Now, if you feel that your music is not 100% of where it needs to be, the question that I have to ask you is how you expect somebody else to feel good about it if you don't?
I'll just say like my polish, like when the studio is my spot. You know what I
Now,
mean?
I agree with that. Now, I agree too. There are the studio tools. I mean, they put you in there and you can sound like
It's
a
a whole
million.
other instrument. You
Yeah,
know?
you are an instrument, but they have some things to enhance your instruments and all of that stuff, and it clashes together and makes music, and it's great.
And like the
But
whole studio, as I'm saying, could be another instrument through which to put all these things through. You
oh,
know?
absolutely. But
I
then,
love that.
But then with that, the whole package comes live performances, interactions with the public, and stuff like that. So that's is part of it. So
So like I struggle with that stuff. Like I so like I don't really I've never really had it. You know, of course I was in high school band and stuff, and your vein, you know. But like so I remember like there was a kid I went to high school with. Like every now and then when we'd have to free write and then read out loud. You know, I have him read mine, and he would get a better reaction. You know what I mean? Um,
so
and
but
like
you
there's a long history of like writers writing for singers. I don't want to tour, man. Like I want to wake up and
so
write.
you
You
just
know?
want to write, okay.
Yeah. Like
Okay. All right.
I want to be babyface. I don't want to be. You know what I
Mm.
mean? I want to be smoky.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
Does that make sense? Like
There's nothing wrong with that. So my question is, how come you have CDs and stuff out and you put music out? Well, actually, I take that back because a part of writing too could consist of you going into the recording studio and making demos so that you can play it for the artist to teach them how to sing it the way you would like them to sing it.
right, and through these like through a catalog, I have more credibility. You know what I mean?
True.
As like, and it's a thing today. Like um, before the Beatles, really, man. Like it was kind of understood, and it exists today. Um, that singers or performers are on tour. They come back to their home studio, and there's been a group of writers or a writer writing songs for them, like for them,
Mm-hmm.
or writing songs in general. And people have that job in Nashville. I
Mm-hmm.
went there last year, and see what it took to get that. You write 4 hours a day, take a lunch, and you go back and write another 4 hours worth of songs or whatever it is.
No,
But
that's
people don't think that way today.
that's intense. That's a lot of brain power. That's intense. So you got 8 hours a day of writing. What are we doing that 5 days a week?
I suppose so. Yeah.
No, that's I think that is complete burnout.
Well, I mean, I was trying to get some training for it. Like I was working. I was living in San Antonio for a while, and I was putting this stuff together, like the album and everything, playing shows, and then I got an invitation to go be a reporter in North Dakota. So I just went and jumped into that with the mind that this is a resume building thing, and I'll be a sharper writer. And I'll be able to, every day you got to pull something together. Just like, okay, we need a song for so and so right now. I've heard that if you can only write sad songs when you're sad, you might not want to be a songwriter professionally. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
That kind of bugged me about Nashville is how it's very formula based. It's very
Yeah, it's very hard
it's
to.
commodity.
Yeah, it's very hard to get stuff done or to step into the music industry in that area. Would you agree with that?
For sure.
Yeah, yeah.
Just the history of just they're standard bearers. They're gatekeepers there. They get to please, and that's not impossible. But I chose. I feel. I hope it probably looks like a thing. Like I joined a songwriters association, and I got critiqued from a guy who had written some hits. Sent
Mm-hmm.
some stuff, and we had a FaceTime thing, and there were some lines he didn't get. He was like, "Oh, this doesn't make any sense and stuff." But those lines, when I was working at a restaurant in downtown San Antonio, a friend of mine who a coworker who had a lot of problems, when those lines came up, he "Oh, dude, those that really hit me," And it's okay, I know what I'm writing for now. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And coming back home, it was I felt like they'd been successful over there because they picked an aesthetic title and ran with it, which was basically authenticity in quotes.
Mm.
And if if other places, why? This is just me ranting about San Antonio a little bit, but Philadelphia has a sound, Detroit has a sound, LA.
Oh yeah.
What we should have, we have our own kind of people, and it's just I think it's an infrastructural thing, and then like a sort of imaginative, like can you visualize your success as a community,
Now I want to talk about this writing here. What was the name of the first song that you wrote?
Um, so the first song I wrote actually seriously was
Hmm.
I was when I got into country music again. I've grown up around it, but as a kid in Texas, you like at some point you're gonna turn away from it. You're gonna get like punk or there's a lot of harsh noise stuff here in San Antonio or hip hop and stuff. But I went to like a country show. I was supposed to go to a folk show and it was a country show. I thought it was the coolest thing because like it was like kind of everything you wanted from like rock and roll, but like actually there. And so I went home and I wrote a tune. It was called Heartache.
And what was?
Open parentheses. You keep giving me all this. Close parentheses. Heartache.
Say it again.
You keep giving me all this, and that's what the parentheses are, right? Or yeah.
Yeah.
And then Heartache. So that's the name of the song.
What's the parentheses?
Like a little, like just like the little parentheses around. I don't know how to explain it. Like it's just like just a joke, I guess. Like you keep handing me all this, but the song is really called Heartache. So that was the name of the line, I guess. But like you keep handing me all this heartache.
Oh, I thought there was some curse words in there. That's what the parentheses were for.
No, yeah.
I was waiting to hear some curse words. I'm like, oh, okay, let's come with it.
No, there was a line that was like, "You come home at 3:30, thinking of our neighbor and his gin. I don't want to know how it happened. I just want to hear you say you love me again."
Oh no. We need to dissect this again.
So let me tell you about the second one. The second one.
Oh wait, I want to get to the first one.
I'm so sorry. Yeah, go on.
So
I've been talking about this song a long time.
let's get to this first one now. Say it line by line, and I want you to pause, and I'm going to let you know if I agree with this situation. So tell me exactly what you just said again.
Okay, so like it was not meant to be agreed with. I'll say.
No, I know.
It was for perspective of an abused person.
411 listeners, you know what I'm talking, where I'm coming from. So, go ahead.
Okay. So the whole thing was, man.
You came home around what time?
It starts.
You came home around what time again?
There's a letter before I skipped.
I'm curious about what time
Yeah,
this person came
mine
home.
was, you come home at 3:30.
3 a.m.
Thinking of
right?
our neighbor in his gym. I don't want to know how it happened. I just want to
No. It's over. See, you don't even have to say all of that. Let's get to
that's
the first.
That's the verse. There's a chorus before that.
But we don't even get to that. Somebody comes home 3:30, whatever you just said.
Mm-hmm.
It's over.
Mm-hmm.
Now that's the first time that it's over, and then now you said sneaking over the
First
neighbor.
time's over.
Oh yeah, first time, and then you said sneaking over the neighbors. What?
So there's a story before it. It's like,
okay,
I don't know why I put up with you.
Yeah.
It seems all you ever do is make me cry.
Mm-hmm.
You keep handing me all this heartache.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know why I put up with you. Seems all you ever do is make me cry. I don't want to. No. Dang, I can't remember it. You keep handing me all this heartache, and I'll keep taking it from you, or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
It's a silly song.
Well,
But yeah.
Well, I don't think
not a healthy relationship.
I don't think it's silly. That is very unhealthy, and you're not coming home late at 3 a.m. and thinking it is
like gin.
Oh, smelling like gin, and then you're sneaking over in the neighbor's yard. Oh hell no, it's over.
Yeah. Or you didn't even bother to hide it. You know what I mean?
Didn't even bother to hide it. Just said fuck it.
But that's how they get you. You know what I mean? Like they do it right in front of your face. You know what I mean?
Would you rather somebody tell you Oh, now see this is a good burning question, which I didn't think about. Um, would you rather someone up front say, "Listen, this is what I'm going to do," or would you rather find out later that they've done something behind your back? You rather them tell you straight up, "This is me. This is who I am. This is what I am capable of doing. This is what I'm going to do," or would you? There are some I call it stupid, which I shouldn't speak like that, but there are some ridiculous songs out there that say they don't want to know about it.
You know, to be honest with you, I have a. I'm not trying to get out of the question, but I think like if you go on a first date with somebody, you just listen to what they're saying, and you'll have the course of your
Oh,
relationship like
oh,
mapped out.
oh, absolutely. You have to
Like
listen.
they'll tell you everything you do. You do the same thing. You know what I mean? Like I'm
Absolutely.
crazy. You know, like okay, well thank you. Like I appreciate you telling me that. You know,
But
like,
you know what? Everybody tells you exactly who they are in the beginning. You just have to listen.
yeah.
And that
And
way,
even how they speak on it is important. You know what I mean? Like it's
you said don't speak on it.
how they speak on it
Oh, how
is
they speak on
important to like take note of it. If you,
it.
I remember I went on a date with this girl. And she said something that blew my mind. She said like we were talking about stuff, and she said the sentence, but you know, like your life isn't a reflection of your parents' lives. It's not. She said it's not a reflection of your parents' life, and that was just like completely contradictory to like all my experience and like my relationship with my family. You know what I mean?
Because you have to learn how to break the cycle. That's because you probably are doing exactly what you have seen. And
Well, and the way this always talks to me is like act right because you reflect your your actions say how we raised you. You know what I mean?
so
So
wait,
like
wait, your
what you
parent,
described as like a guiltless thing. You know?
wait, say it. Did your parents tell you to act right?
My parents would tell me that that the way you act shows how we have raised you. You know what I mean?
And then what do you tell them?
I would try to act right. You
You
know
would
what I mean? I would
try
try to
to
be respectful
try
and
to
say,
act right.
like so that way people will say, "Oh man, those parents raised a nice young man." But when she was explaining, like and she's true. It's true in a sense. I mean, it's true literally, but like that that's just totally contradictory. I mean, maybe it's just a cultural thing. I don't know, man. Like it didn't work out. Um, like
Mm-mm-mm.
it was like a misfire between us on that, like a fundamental thing. You know what I mean?
Sometimes people just don't work out, and it's that one thing that's doesn't fit. Everything else is wonderful, and you try to make this one thing fit. And that puzzle piece, I spoke about this the other night. The puzzle piece doesn't fit, right? But because all of those other things lined up, you try to force that puzzle piece to make it work because everything else just seems to be so real, so right, so true, on point, 100% matching up, aligning, whatever you want to call it. That's how we run into some situations when we try to force puzzle pieces into the wrong slot.
As you're saying that, I was trying to think. Is it like you try to force good things when there are a lot of bad things, or you're forcing good, bad things when a lot of good things, or But I found like both in my life. People with good intentions, it still wasn't. It still was not good. You know what I mean? Everyone had good intentions and it was trying. It just wasn't the thing.
Mm.
And sometimes I'm like, why was I? That was useless toil. You know what I mean? Like, I wish, but it's like I'm glad I know what useless toil feels like. I guess I'm
Mm-hmm.
aware of it. I guess.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
But I don't know. I don't know. I tried to be the same fool twice. I guess I could say. And that
You try
someone
not.
says I used to be a fool is just an optimist.
You try not to be the same fool twice.
Yes.
I like that.
Yeah. And if you ever say, "Oh, I'm no longer a fool," then you're just really an optimist. You know what I mean?
Mm.
Hoping for the best.
Well, I'd like to say I am no longer a fool. I would like to say that because I was so uh, pessimistic before and combative and every damn thing else you want to name it. So,
Yeah. I'll say for San Antonio, we're all fools out here. You know what I mean? Like, so that's like a.
well, We are up against the clock. I appreciate you coming in here and speaking some real truth tonight, opening up and sharing your stories about your writing, your music, and being very vulnerable in here tonight, which is what the 411 podcast is all about. So you definitely fit in so well. So I definitely appreciate you for coming on. So
Hey, well, thank you guys so much for having me. Yeah. Please continue your work. Talking about therapy and stuff. The whole world, the whole humanity needs this discussion in the air, and you know, you're doing like the work that needs to be done, and it's tough. Like you have like things against you, but don't stop. You know what I'm saying? Please.
thank you. I appreciate that so much. I definitely take it all 100%, and it's great. This is good. So let everyone know where we can follow you at. Do you have a website, or are you on other social media platforms besides Instagram?
I pretty much just do Instagram. I do have a website though. My Instagram is gonna be Barrera, Barrera dot and the word and dot the hot springs. So it's Barrera and the hot springs with periods between them.
Very good.
That's Instagram, and I have a website. I have a little writing on there and links to all my music and pictures of my mug. BarreraMusic.com.
Very good. That means you got to get some of that music up there, and you got to continue to write and continue to do your thing.
Yes, sir. Well, I appreciate that very much. Thank you for having me so much. Thank you.
You're welcome so much. Take care, and hopefully we'll see you soon.
Yeah, be easy and take care of yourself.
Thank you. Take care now.
All right. Bye.
Well, there you go. That was Mr. Nathaniel. Now, again, I'm still not pronouncing his last name because I can't do it. Mm-mm-mm. So now, I'm going to leave y'all with this burning question tonight. I know sometimes they say that it's not good to go back, but sometimes you got to go back in order to get through. I don't know if you believe that or not, but I've had so many people say sometimes I got to go reminisce, I got to go back so that I can go ahead and move forward. So, in that case, if you're that type of person, how did you go back, or how do you go back to reminisce? Some of us, we write things down, so you do some journaling. Um, some people write a letter. I've heard about people writing a letter to themselves or to whoever it is in their life that may have caused them some sort of drama, trauma, pain, whatever. And some people, after they write the letter, they rip it up. I've heard of people burning it. Some people just sit and they daydream and they try to picture themselves going back in time, going through whatever they went through, and then changing and rewriting the story through dreams. So, what are some ways, if you are the type of person who needed to go back in order to get through, how did you handle it? Do you journal? Do you write letters? Do you daydream? Is there something else out there that I am missing that you are doing or have done and or might be thinking about doing in the future? Sometimes we got to go back in order to get through. I know some people say we shouldn't go back and shouldn't go back and harp and stay stuck. That's not the type of, you know, conversation I'm trying to have here. I'm talking about when you need to revisit something, you might need to remind yourself about something, and then you give yourself that check mark. Yes, been there, done that. So now we understand where we're going. Let's stay focused. Let's keep it moving. I want to thank you all for coming through, and thank you all to the people for checking me out, watching the replays. If you want to go ahead and support the 411 podcast, all you have to do is click that link above all of my social media platforms. And again, I'm so thankful to be on Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, Twitter, YouTube, D Live, and Twitch. Go ahead and click that link above and go inside of Remix Journal, Volume 1.5. And by you purchasing, you will help support the 411 podcast and Reading Between the Lines. Take that 30-day transformational journey towards a healthier mindset. Thank you all so much. And of course, I have to thank my executive producer, my Lord and Savior Jesus Christ, for allowing me to come out here and give y'all the 411 podcast one more time in life. Now, tomorrow, we have very special guest, Mr. Felix, coming tomorrow night, tonight, coming tomorrow night on the 411 podcast. So check me out tomorrow, having a conversation with Mr. Felix tomorrow. Good night, y'all. See ya 10 o'clock tomorrow, 411. Take care, y'all. Good night, good night, good night.